Ninny here, and today I'm going to show you how I made this really cute little mini decorative cutting board. As always, all supplies used in this video can be found at ninnysnapkins.com. So let's get started. What you're going to need for this project is, of course, a mini cutting board. We sell these as a set of two. You're going to need a set of wet transfers. I'm using some Distress Oxides and a stencil. And you're going to need some paint. I use Fusion Mineral Paint. This time I'm using the color Cathedral Taupe. You're also going to need some trays for putting paint in, and I'm going to use a pouncer or a sponge dauber to apply my paint. Now you can apply it with a brush if that's your preference. I just find sometimes on projects like these, I get a nicer finish if I use a sponge. Now, when you're working with wet transfers, it is a good idea to have a light colored background, similar to what you would if you were decoupaging with napkins, but it doesn't have to be white. As I said, I'm using Cathedral Taupe, which is kind of a tan color, and I thought it went well with the coffee transfer that I've chosen to use today. You'll notice that I elevated the mini cutting board up on top of a platform. I just find it a little bit easier to paint that way rather than having it lay flat on the table and getting paint all over the table. For this project, I didn't paint the back of the cutting board, but you certainly could. And you could also decorate the back of it so that you have a reversible piece of decor. Why not do the back Christmas and the other side just an everyday design? I only ended up needing one coat of paint for this project. Fusion Mineral Paint has exceptional coverage, but if you think that your project needs two, go ahead and add two. Now I'm opening the water transfer that I've chosen to use. As you can see, they come with really clear, detailed instructions on the back of the transfer. We actually carry two different brands of water transfer at the time of filming. We have Joy Decor and European Excellency, and they both have instructions on the back. We also have a really quick how-to video on the product pages on our website, so if you ever need a quick refresher. But as you'll see in a moment, these are really easy to use. So the first thing I'm doing is just cutting out the designs that I want to use. I'm not sure which of the sentiments that I want yet. Mostly I'm just going to see which one fits the best. So I'm cutting them both out. First I cut them out loosely, and then I'll cut off some of the excess, which you'll see me doing here with this coffee cup. You most certainly don't have to fussy cut. You don't have to remove all of the white around the image, as there is still a clear film all the way around your image. So I'm trying to just eliminate some of that, but honestly, if you varnish over your wet transfers, that clear film pretty much disappears entirely anyways. So again, this isn't a completely necessary step, it's just something I like to do. But the one thing you will definitely want to make sure you do is get rid of any of those really straight edges. So see here, I'm going to remove the straight edge at the top because you will see that when you apply these onto your piece. So once I have all the images cut out, it's time for me to audition them on the little cutting board. Now I absolutely love this image with the coffee cup and the flower on top of the book. It was just so pretty, but I really wanted to add one of these sentiments and I just could not make it fit. Now I could have moved the coffee cup image down and let it kind of hang off of the mini cutting board, but that wasn't the look I was going for today. So I ended up deciding to use this other image here. It was a little bit smaller and just fit a little bit better, and in the end I still loved it just as much. I'll save the other coffee cup with the flower for another project, something a little bit larger. Now it's time to choose which sentiment that I'm going to use. I really thought I would use this one with the red writing on it, but I just wasn't feeling it, so I ended up going with the other sentiment, drink happy thoughts. So now you're going to see just how easy these wet transfers are to apply. The first thing that you need to do is peel off the clear top layer of the transfer. So your transfer is going to remain on that white backing layer. Then you flip it over and place it face down. Remember that because wet transfers go face down, first of all, that's why the writing is always in reverse. but also your image is going to reverse too. So I had planned on putting this on the left side of the mini cutting board, but obviously it's going to go on the right side, which is totally fine. It really doesn't change anything. Now I have a little dish with some water and another sponge pouncer. You can use any sponge for this. I just like the fact that I have a handle to hold on to my sponge so that I don't have to get my hands wet. And I feel like it gives me a little bit more control over how much water I'm applying. I don't know if you noticed, but when I pulled the sponge out of the water, I did push a little bit of the water out on the edge of the cup so that I didn't totally drown my transfer. But what you want to do is get the whole white backing wet and then basically just leave it for a few seconds. It really doesn't take very long, maybe 10 or 20 seconds. I'm applying a bit more water. I don't know if that's necessary or not. Sometimes I just need something to do while I wait. And then you can go ahead and peel off that white backing. Some people will choose to slide the backing off. I like to peel it off. That's personal preference. Do whatever works best for you. And you will notice that that white backing layer, now it actually feels kind of slimy and slippery, which is perfect because we're going to use that to smooth out any of the edges that might have a little bit of wrinkling or bubbling on them. And so you always start in the center and move outwards. Don't ever smooth out your transfer going inwards, as you risk lifting up the edges. This one really didn't need a lot of smoothing, but yeah, we're going to use that slippery backing because it doesn't have a lot of friction, so it's not going to pull on your transfer and risk ripping it or stretching it. So I was still a little bit undecided about which sentiment I wanted to use, but I did decide to go with the Drink Happy Thoughts, as you know. So again, peel off the clear top layer. Lay this face down. Now, of course, with words, you do want to make sure that they're fairly level, unless you're going to intentionally put them on an angle, which sometimes is a little bit easier, but I just eyeballed this really, and it worked out quite well. But just remember, once you stick these down onto the surface, you're not going to be able to peel them back up again, so you do want to make sure it's level the first time, or else it's probably going to drive you crazy. So again, I'm just wetting the backing until that white paper is completely saturated. You don't need to have tons of water here. We don't need a puddle all over the place, but you do need to make sure that that white backing paper is totally saturated in water. And I'm not the most patient person, so I start fiddling with it. Sometimes if you touch it, you'll actually see the backing layer shift, and that's how you know that it has released. But this is real time. I didn't speed this up, so this is about how long it really takes until you can peel off that backing layer, and then just use it to smooth out your edges a little bit. And that's it. And then you're just going to let these wet transfers dry a bit. Really, it's the water. You just want to let that water dry up before you move on to any other steps. So now I'm going to get out the Ranger Distress Oxides, and I'll let you know now that this first step I actually didn't end up keeping, but I wanted to keep it in the video just to show you how easy it is to remove the Distress Oxides if you make a mistake or do something that you don't like. So I don't end up really liking the color that I used here, and I just generally didn't like the look of what I did. I do some stenciling later that I leave. But because Ranger Distress Oxides are not permanent, that does make them very, very easy to remove with a baby wipe. So this is a blending brush that I'm using, and you just kind of rub it on the ink pad, and then you rub it over top of the stencil. It's a very, very effective way to stencil. You get a really nice, clean, crisp lines. I believe I used the color tea dye, and it just didn't go with the project as well as I thought it would. So later I come in actually with walnut stain. So there you can see that doesn't really look very nice, so I'm just going to take a baby wipe and just wipe it off. Now, while this permanentness has its advantages, like being able to wipe it off very easily. It also has some disadvantages you always have to keep in mind when you're using distress inks or distress oxides that are not permanent, that you cannot varnish over top of them because the ink will just run and bleed. I didn't end up varnishing this project at all, but if you choose to, you'll need to do so before you apply any distress oxides or distress inks. Now, if you use any permanent inks or archival inks, then you can go ahead and varnish right over top of them once they're completely dry, which doesn't usually take very long. So now what I'm doing is I am using the blending brush just to go around the edges of the piece, just to give it a little bit of depth, a little bit of character, aging it a little bit, and it frames the piece really nicely. You can do this in many different ways using many different products, such as paint or different waxes. But Darlene at the Rustic Refinery recently started using Distress Oxides for her pieces, and I just thought it turned out so nice that I decided to give it a try for this video, and I do love it. It's just very, very easy to do, and it gives a really nice, soft look. So you can do it with just one color, or as Darlene often does, you can add 2 or 3 or more colors, and that just gives a little bit more interest and a little bit more depth to it. So I'm just dragging that blending brush kind of across the edge, and then after that I rub it back and forth over top of the ink that I've already applied just to blend it in a bit. You really don't need a lot of ink on your brush when you're doing this, and by this point I have rubbed most of the ink onto the piece. So I'm using the brush now to kind of blend it and soften the look without adding additional ink onto the piece. And I think that you can see that quite clearly in the video how much softer it looks now that I've done that. And now I'm going to add a second color, and I think this one is actually a distress ink. So what is the difference between distress inks and distress oxides? Basically, inks are somewhat transparent, whereas oxides are opaque. And they work really well together to create more kind of depth and dimension. And of course, there are a million ways to use these distress oxides and inks. This is just one of the many ways. And in a moment, I'm going to show you again how to stencil with them, and some of the advantages of stenciling with an ink versus with paint, because we could have just as easily used paint on this project. But what I love about using the distress oxides or any type of ink for stenciling is the ability to be able to apply it very thinly and softly so that it really is in the background and not really so in your face. And that's not to say that you can't get a really deep and vibrant color from them. You just have to apply them more generously or continue to add layers of ink until you have the consistency that you desire. So I think in the end I used a total of 4 colors of distress oxides and inks around the edge of my piece, 3 different shades of kind of brown, and I do add a little bit of black at the end as well just to darken it up. But experiment with them and play around. You want to try and find colors that are in your piece, so I was trying to use the different browns from the coffee image, and that will help to tie your whole piece together. So the one last final step that I have is adding those little stenciled details into the background. I really like the motifs on this stencil. I like that it has 4 different ones. I find myself using it again and again. This is an ITD stencil that is available on our website as well. So again, I'm just using my blending brush to just gently rub the ink over the top, making sure to hold my left hand on the stencil so that it doesn't move, and I can lift the stencil up to check on my progress. And I really like that very faint, subtle detail in the background. So now I just want to add a little bit more here. And it just adds a little bit more interest and kind of fills in some of that blank space. And there we go. This was another really quick and easy project that you can probably complete in under an hour. After I was done this step, I thought it just needed a little bit something more, so I took it downstairs to Darlene and she put a pretty bow around the neck. I really hope that you enjoyed this quick and easy tutorial and that you'll give it a try. Once again, all of the products used in today's video can be found at ninniesnapkins.com. Thanks for watching.